certain, but your best guess. Domina shook her head, looking more tired by the moment. My guess is she's an escaped experiment. Someone out there is walking in the same direction as you, only on a different path. Not one of the high sages. I'd have heard about something like this. A third party? Someone with the knowledge to create a functional hybrid human? If that's so, we need to find this person, claim their knowledge, and eliminate them from the field. But first, we need to know more about the girl. Leonidas ran his fingers through his hair and blew out a long breath. I'll summon the rest of the cadre. Rondo discovered her. Perhaps he has some information of value. Domina's disgusted snort said what she thought about that possibility. Leonidas didn't blame her. The idea that their fate might rest on what Rondo knew didn't exactly fill him with confidence. In fact, it made his stomach churn and sent acid up the back of his throat. Be that as it may, Domina had clearly reached a dead end. Leonidas would take any chance to move his mission forward, even relying on the most unlikely source of help imaginable. Yaz shivered in the cold, bitter wind. Snowflakes fell out of the leaden sky. Perfect weather for a funeral. All the people from Dragonspire Village had gathered to bury the last of those who died in the dragon attack. It had been a long, sad week, but everyone was ready to move on. At least as much as they could under the circumstances. He doubted anyone would fully recover from the trauma of the past few months. 6 men used heavy hemp ropes to lower the plain wooden casket until it was out of sight. Digging the graves in the partially frozen earth had been a miserable experience for all involved, one that reminded them with each strike of the pick how much they'd lost. Yaz had helped dig every grave, and he would be glad not to have to dig any more, hopefully for a long time. The people of the village weren't overly religious at the best of times, so no prayer was spoken. Instead, after a moment of silence, 2 young men and a middle-aged woman, the slain man's surviving family, began filling in the hole. This final task was a chance for them to say goodbye. Not wanting to intrude, everyone else started to drift away, some back towards the fort and others off on their own to try and process what happened. Bridget reached out and took his hand, giving it a little squeeze. He appreciated the support. The gods knew he could use all he could get. Silas had begged off attending the funerals, claiming he was an outsider and didn't want to intrude. More likely he simply wanted to keep his distance from the depressing events. Yaz couldn't really blame him. As they were walking back towards the border fort, Alan hurried up to them. The villager's spokesman wore a neutral expression that gave him no clue as to what he wanted. Yes, do you have a moment? Of course, Yaz said. He offered a silent prayer that it wasn't bad news. He'd had about all the bad news he could stand. Alan glanced at Bridget, sighed, and said, The other villagers and I have talked it over. We've decided to take Rend up on its offer of farms and a new start. After what happened, none of us have the heart to return to the valley. I don't want to sound like we're abandoning you, especially after all you've done for us. But I don't think any of us will ever feel safe there again. Even after you rescue the Dragonriders, there will always be that question. When will they come for us again? Here, at least, we don't have to worry about becoming slaves. Yaz had expected this conversation for a while, but hearing Alan say it straight out made him feel a little sick. How was he supposed to tell his father when he found him that there was no village to return to? It made his success feel like a failure. Not that he would ever tell anyone that. The people had every right to make their own decisions about their future without him adding guilt on top of what was already a hard choice. Maybe it was for the best. After everything he'd seen, Yaz couldn't blame anyone for not wanting to return to the kingdom of Khartoum. The kingdom was rotten, broken in ways he hadn't imagined before his travels. And yet, first thing in the morning, Yaz had every intention of crossing over once more and traveling north the length of Khartoum to the free city of Kuralt. That was where the Dragonriders were waiting, and hopefully his father with them. I understand, Yaz said. When my work is finished in Khartoum, we may come and join you.